Welcome back to a soon-to-be award-winning version of Student of the Gun Radio. Not a virgin, but a version. Those aren't the same thing. I can hardly hear myself. You need to bump up my volume a little bit over there on that side of the board. There, it's testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we're back. Now I can actually hear what I'm saying. So that way I know I'm coming through loud and clear. Am I coming through loud and clear? If I am, hold your phone up in the air over your head. All right, you guys can put your phones down now. Jared, are you paying attention over there on the other side?
I am paying attention over here.
Oh, okay. Bless his little heart. Bless his little heart on the other side of the glass case of emotion. Yes, we are coming to you from the Glass Case of Emotion Studios, which is located at Student of the Gun University in not-so-sunny Biloxi, Mississippi. In
It
partly
was sunny
cloudy,
earlier.
monsoony. Well, that's just the way it is. The sun comes out, and then you close your eyes, and you open them back up, and it's pouring rain.
I got about half my lawn mowed.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep.
I got about none of the lawn mowed here at the studio. Your brother cursed it. You know what he did?
Huh.
We were going to lunch, and I looked at the lawn. I'm like, geez, we got to get this thing mowed again. He said, if it doesn't rain today, I'll do it tomorrow morning. And then within 30 minutes, it was pouring, and the streets were flooded. So there you go. But enough weather-related information. This isn't the Weather Channel. This is Student of the Gun Radio. And thank you for joining us for yet another week. It's Monday already. I'll help you get through it. Calm down. Calm down. And that is Jared on the other side. He is the production engineer, the studio engineer, the producer of Student of the Gun Radio, and an all-around good guy. Jared, how'd your weekend go?
It was pretty good. We had fights on Saturday. I don't know if I posted any pictures to Student of the Gun Facebook, but if you follow me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/PTJared, then you would know that we had fights this weekend.
Like outside of a bar?
Nope, like sanctioned fights inside of a cage.
So like MMA fights?
Yeah, MMA fights.
Yeah, because some of our listeners might be thinking like, what? There were fights? They were fighting this weekend? You got to remember that not everybody listening knows what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
They aren't reading your mind.
That's true. Well, now they know.
Now they
MMA
know.
fights. And it's funny, this is the first time I've actually cornered somebody. Usually I'm the one being cornered, but I was the corner this time. And it's much more emotionally draining cornering somebody than it is fighting, surprisingly.
Yes. In addition, we'll see if you guys are following Student of the Gun Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and shame on you if you're not. Okay, go ahead and follow Gun District, and we need to get Zach to update the Gun District with the ACLIS stuff. We went over and we spent the day on Friday with our friends in Baton Rouge at ACLIS Defense. And that would be Joe Moe and Zach Hall and Vanessa and Dave and everybody else whose name I'm not saying right now and who's going to be angry with me for not saying their name on the radio. All of you folks. We went over there and we got to a sneak peek behind the scenes at what they're doing at ACLIS Defense. And yes, ACLIS Defense is populated by people who used to work for a company called Red Jacket Firearms. And it's the people that remain, I guess you could say. What are they doing? Their primary. I asked Zach. I said, "So what are your primary products? What are you focusing on?" And he said, "Suppressors and Mark 19s." So there you have it. If you're in the market for a Mark 19 40mm grenade launcher, they've got them. And Jared posted some pictures. I can't believe that picture wasn't more popular, Jared. I think that a lot of people looked at it and didn't know what they were looking at. I don't think they realized what it was because there wasn't like a belt of 40mm grenades hanging out of the side.
Oh, yeah.
And that other picture that you put, there was unfinished 50 caliber, 50 BMG suppressors. They make suppressors and silencers for everything from 22s all the way up to 50 BMGs and everything in between, shotguns, rifles, 30 caliber rifles, 223 rifles, what have you. What is their official address there? It's aclisdefense.com, right? The official
let me make sure
internet's the official web page. I want to make sure. Yeah, so we got to actually, they helped me out. I've had a ZK-22 rifle for a long time, and you guys have probably seen pictures of it. We Duracoated it, and we did all kinds of stuff to it. And we actually featured it on the TV show, 2 seasons ago? Something like that. But it didn't, the one thing that was missing was a threaded barrel. so we can put a suppressor on it and just kind of make it complete. And so that's what we did when we were over there. Those guys, they're a full service machine shop manufacturer, obviously. So we were able to put a threaded barrel on that gun, reassemble it, and then test it with one of their little 22 cans. And the web address is?
It is AklysDefense.com, AKLYS defense.com.
Is it defense with an S or defense with a C?
With an S.
You know how like Europeans and Canadians like to spell defense?
Yeah,
with
they're
a C?
from America.
Yeah, they're from America. So check those guys out at Aklys, AKLYS defense.com.
It's actually a pretty good website.
Yeah. I know we met the web developer, and I helped him deal with his cut.
Oh, he's the web developer?
Yeah, he's not the web developer. He's the internet guy. He's the IT guy.
I don't think he designs websites.
No, he probably just manages it. I'm not going to give someone a task that they don't do, but
No
he
idea.
probably manages it. Anyway, long story short, it is Monday, and it's time for what? The SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. We got an interesting question today, and Jared's going to go ahead and cue it on up for us.
Hey guys, it's Chris from Nashville. I just wanted to ask a question about shotguns for home defense. At what condition would you keep the shotgun? You don't want to really be racking the side when someone's breaking in the house, but with these shotguns, they don't have drop safeties. At what condition, do you keep them in?
Good question. And as far as like racking, Chris, you're going the exact opposite. There's some people out there who believe that the racking of the shotgun is that it's all you need to do to drive burglars from your home. You just walk down the hall going, and the bad guys will hear that and they will avoid their bowels and run away from your home. Here's the dealio, and you are correct. There's this thing called Cruiser Ready, and Cruiser Ready for cop shotguns is chamber empty, magazine full. And that's the way we used to keep ours muzzle down when I was in well, depending on what kind of car and what kind of rack you had. Some of them were muzzle down, some were muzzle up, some of them were sideways over the back, which is really dicey when someone grabs it from the driver's side and pulls it out, and the muzzle is looking right at the face of the person in the passenger seat. That can be an exciting situation. I wouldn't worry so much about the racking it. I would store it. Generally, if I'm going to use your generic standard Remington 870, Mossberg 590, whatever kind of shotgun like that. And he is correct. They have the long firing pins, and it is possible with the older models if they were to drop or be banged really hard. Now, you'd really have to lay into a shotgun. I don't think it falling over on your carpet's going to make it go boom, but what have you. I wouldn't worry so much about that. If you practice, and this is something I learned in the police academy, when we were at the academy, we learned how to use the pump-action shotgun because that was the preferred long arm when I was a policeman back in the early 90s. We went out on the range, and one of our instructors said, "Watch this." So he put the shot timer on, the little beepy shot timer, waited for it to beep, and he started with it loaded with the safety on. Beep, comes up on target, pow. All right. X time, right? And they said, all right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Cruiser Ready. And muzzle down, chamber empty, but his hand on the pump. Beep, boom. The time was a fraction of a second. It was literally a fraction of a second that it took him to chamber it and pump and put a round on there. And they say, well, that fraction of a second, dude, we're talking like before you could raise your hand from your waist to your face that slow or that quick. What I would say, if you're going to use a shotgun for home defense, is get out on the range and practice operating that shotgun, practice working it so you feel 100% confident with it. And the other thing I'm going to tell you, and this is one of my pet peeves in the modern internet world, is people taking home defense shotguns, taking a shotgun and thinking that they're going to turn it into a giant can of mace by loading it with weird stuff like rubber buckshot or I've even heard people say they're going to load it with blank rounds. I don't know what the heck you're supposed to do with blank rounds. Or
blank rounds killed Bruce Lee's brother.
Yeah, they're Bruce Lee's son.
Son, whatever.
Whatever. And John Eric Hexum, that's right. Blank rounds, rubber buckshot, beanbag rounds. Stop yourself. I know they're really cool and ninja, and they get you excited and all antsy in the pantsy when you open the catalog and you see these beanbag rounds. Dudes, those are for people that are deliberately going to go into riot control or civil disorder where they don't want to kill people. A shotgun is always a shotgun. You guys understand that, right? Just because you're loading it with something like what you think is less lethal or non-lethal, there's no such thing as a non-lethal. There's less than lethal. Did you know if you shoot someone in the face with a beanbag round or in the throat, it could crush their windpipe and kill them? Did you know if you hit them in the temple, it could kill them? What if you hit them just in the knees or in the sternum and it breaks their sternum and they bleed to death? Guess what? What is the definition of serious or death, Jared? Or I'm sorry, deadly force. Death and/or I'm feeding it to you.
Death or serious bodily harm.
Serious bodily harm. And serious bodily harm is anything that require prolonged hospitalization, rehabilitation, permanent disfigurement, scarring, and so forth. You shoot somebody in the face with a beanbag round because you're all excited and you're like, boo, 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 and it breaks out their teeth. That's like permanent disfigurement. You're like, well, big deal, Paul. They shouldn't have been breaking in my house. Dude, if you're justified in pointing a shotgun at a human being and pulling the trigger on it, you're justified if they live or die. You understand that. Here's the big problem that people put themselves, a bad situation people put themselves into with these shotguns, is they'll load it with what they think is less than lethal or what have you, and then they will use the gun in a situation where the gun would not normally be warranted. Because now they're thinking, instead of thinking, I have a deadly force tool in my hand and I'm, exercising deadly force, they view it like it's a giant can of mace or pepper spray or something, and they're just going to use it to scare off bad guys or to shoot at people that should not have been shot at or justifiably had a gun pointed or fired at them. You need to understand that, folks. A shotgun is a gun. It is a firearm. If you hold a shotgun in your hand and point it at a human being, that is a threat of deadly force. You guys got that? So loading it with all this other nonsense doesn't make it not a lethal force. So you want to stay on the right side of the law, and you want to just stay away from that stuff. Either load it with double-aught buck or number 0 buck or number 1 buck or whatever flavor of the day, whatever makes you happy. But that is, Chris, I hope that answers your question. Get out there, practice. Here's the cool thing about shotguns. Do you want to know what the cool thing is? Do you want to know?
Yeah.
He says he wants to know. Shotgun ammo, right now, 12-gauge shotgun ammo, like your standard field loads, your number 7 shots, your number 9 shots, stuff that you can actually use to practice with, is cheap now, and it's available. I think Walmart just put their 100-round packs on sale for like $20.50 or something like that. So the cool thing about shotguns is, unlike everything else in the gun world where the ammo's kind of like been hard to find, even during the great ammunition crisis of 2013, you could still find shotgun ammo. So get out there, practice with your shotgun. You won't regret it. Jared, tell Chris what he's got to do to get his free bottle of 9mm Plus P from SWAT Fuel.
Chris, I need you to email Alex, that's ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. Email her your name, mailing address, your phone number, and include your email typed in the body, please. I wonder if people get tired of hearing that. You think they do? Maybe I should switch it up. Maybe I should say email, phone number, mailing address, and then name backwards. So
don't do that.
Okay.
Do not do that. It will mess people up and they'll start doing it wrong. Okay. The following segment of Student of the Gun Radio is brought to you by Frog Lube. It just works. It's green, it's minty, it's non-petroleum based, and it works. Check them out at froglube.com. Century Arms, the makers of the C39 100% made in the USA AK-47. And they import a lot of other cool stuff and make a lot of other cool stuff. So check out what's new and cool at centuryarms.com. And also Brownells, brownells.com. I was just talking to my contact at Brownells on Friday last, and I asked him, I said, give me the no kidding, what's up with ammo at Brownells? And he said, what is up is we've got it. It's in stock. People need to make sure you sign up for the newsletter or the e-blast or whatever it is, because this is no joke. Every week, Brownells sends out an e-blast newsletter, what have you. They send it out to millions of people. And so everybody gets it at the same time. Right, exactly. So if they put 5.56, 9 mil, 45, whatever, your favorite flavor on sale, and you don't hear about it until the next day or the day after, then you go online and you're like, hey, man, they're out of stock. No kidding. Because 187,000 other people clicked on that and they decided to buy. So, and also, my buddy Ryan said, he said, tell your listeners to make sure that they, when they go to the website, that they're checking out the new products category. Because they're always, every week, every month, they're adding new products to the Brownells. I mean, they got, what, Jared, 100,000 plus items in the catalog. So anyway, how hard is it to find out, though, Jared? Is there a way that our audience can find out what's new in the new products category? Where can they go?
I think you can go to brownells.com.
That's what they should do. All right, kids, go to brownells.com and check them out. Oh, sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. This is... Did I tell you, folks, that I really don't want to talk about this stuff? That I would really rather talk about hunting or adventures or sport shooting or what? I'd rather do that. I really would. But that's not the world we live in. The world that we live in demands that I get in front of this microphone 5 times a week, 4 for you and 1 for the bonus hour, and that I pay attention to the news. Like, man, doesn't it depress you? Yeah, kind of. Sometimes it does. This story comes to us from the HuffingtonPuffingtonPost.com. It says, Comrade Barry on Charleston shooting. This type of mass violence does not happen in other countries. Oh, Comrade Barry. If we had a real fourth estate in America, and that is supposed to be the media, ladies and gentlemen, that is supposed to be the press. The press is supposed to be the fourth estate. The press is supposed to keep a sharp eye on those elected representatives. And they're not supposed to let them get away with lying or spreading falsehoods or propaganda. They're supposed to call them on it. And if we had an honest fourth estate in the United States of America, people like Comrade Barry would be really and truly regretting stupid statements like that. This type of mass violence does not happen in other advanced countries. And, of course, he was speaking about the Charleston shooting. Well, Comrade Barry said that on, and the dateline on this was 6/18/2015. So on 6/18/2015, Comrade Barry Soetoro gets in front of a microphone and he scolds us and talks to us like we're children. Don't you guys love that? Or are you sick of that? Are you sick of a communist agitator, somebody that has no credibility, that has no experience other than the fact that they were an articulate black man? Oh, I'm sorry. Barry Soetoro is an articulate half black man. All right. I apologize for not pointing that out. Are you sick of an articulate teleprompter reader looking out in the audience and talking to you like you're a second grader? I know I am, but Jared, you see what we got coming up, and we haven't had one of these for a while. And it's a Religion of Peace updates. Now, keep this in mind. So Comrade Barry on the 18th of June goes out and he scolds us to tell us that we need to accept more restrictions and more reasonable gun control, because that's the only way we can stop things happening. And that in other countries that have already accepted reasonable restrictions on their rights, these things don't happen. Except that's not really true, is it?
Das geht an die Oma des letzten Propheten Mohammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ich bin Allah so dankbar, ein Muslim sein zu dürfen. Das geht an die Oma, wir sind die Oma. Check das aus. Bismillah.
Yes, as you know, that is the Religion of Peace and Brotherhood update. And, poop. This story was updated on Saturday, June 27th, but originally the attacks all occurred, was it exactly 1 week after Comrade Barry scolded us to say that kind of violence doesn't happen? Well, let me see here. This comes to us from the communistnewsnetwork.com. That's charlienoranora.com. Terror attacks on 3 continents. ISIS claims responsibility for in Tunisia and Kuwait. Now you're like, whoa, hang on a second. I thought that... Didn't Comrade Barry tell us that Al-Qaeda had been defeated and yada yada, and we don't need to have people on the ground anymore? Let's see. CNN, ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack on a seaside resort in Tunisia on Friday that killed at least, in the original body count was 28. Now it's 38, and wounded 36 others, many of them Western tourists. The Islamist group named the attacker the Islamic group named the attacker as Abu Yabadabadu, blah, 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 whatever, goat rapist, and said he managed to infiltrate the Hotel Rui Imperial, blah, 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 Marhaba, the Hotel Riu Imperial Maraba in the coastal city of Sousse, or Sousse. ISIS posted a photo of the alleged attacker, but people who were on the scene of the shooting told CNN they could not definitively say whether the gunman they saw or it was the same one featured. Are you kidding me? This was one dude? One? Witnesses reported seeing more than one gunman. Okay. And the Tunisian Interior Ministry initially said there had been at least 3, but a ministry spokesman later said that only 1 had been killed. All right. The spokesman, Muhammad Ali Aroui, said the gunman was a student who was going to receive his master's degree in engineering. So somebody that was allowed to come into the country on a student visa committed terrorism against the country that allowed him to come in on a student visa. Is that the craziest thing you've ever heard, Jared? That's never happened before, has it? Are you reading?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you sad? Is the story making you sad?
Yeah, it is. It's making me sad. It says 2 U.S. officials said they believe the Tunisia attack may have been inspired by ISIS, though not directed by the terrorist group.
Oh, so it was inspired by them, but not directed by them. Okay. So you have that. Among the dead were at least 5 Britons, 3 Belgians, 1 German, and 1 from Ireland, according to the British Foreign Ministry. Unknown French officials were also amongst the dead, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to give you the grisly, gory details. So there's that. So that's in Tunisia. Well, then we also have, on the same day, within hours of within hours of each other. These are all different time zones. France, Tunisia, and Kuwait are in different time zones, I believe. Tunisia nightmare came on the same day as 2 fatal terrorist attacks in other countries. A man caused an explosion at a chemical plant near Lyon in southeastern France after having beheaded his boss and leaving the head hanging on a fence, French officials said. Authorities detained the suspect. Are you kidding me? That is the line. Authorities detained the suspect. Could they come up with a more mild sentence for snatching hold of a goat rapist terrorist? The authorities have detained the suspect. Well, thank the Lord. And ISIS has claimed responsibility for an apparent bomb blast at a Shiite or Shia, wherever, affiliated Al-Sadiq mosque in Kuwait. In Kuwait City, that was, during Friday's parade, leaving at least 25 dead and 200 injured. Spain raised its terror alert to 4 on a scale from 1 to 5, with higher numbers being a bigger threat, and so on and so forth. So, what do we got here? We've got somebody with a gun. A bad person with a gun gets into a resort. A student, a Muslim student on a visa, goes into a resort and starts whacking people. That never happens, according to Comrade Barry. Apparently, France, Tunisia, and Kuwait are not advanced countries. See, you notice how Barry did the whole advanced? He gave himself like an out. Well, all right, that might happen in other places, but those aren't advanced countries. So we got at least 38 dead in Tunisia, at least 28 dead in Kuwait. We've got 1 dead and others injured and terrorized in France, but that doesn't happen. That only happens when white people get a hold of guns in America, according to Comrade Barry. Now, we've got one here. This is the follow-up story, and it says, this one is datelined 6/27/2015, so it's a newer story than the previous one. Tourists flee Tunisia after resort attack. Tourists fled a Tunisian seaside resort on Saturday after an attack killed 38 people and wounded 39 others. A stream of buses quietly ferried out thousands of guests who abruptly ended their beach holidays. The gunman who posted a photo of the alleged attacker, and so on and so forth. Okay. Goat rapist, ISIS members, Democrat voters. Gotcha. So what do we got there? We've got attacks all over the world committed by the religion of peace and brotherhood. What do you guys think? Peace, brotherhood? Are you tired of being told that? Are you tired of being scolded by a communist community organizer and told that you are the problem? I don't know. Maybe you're not tired of being told that you are the problem. Maybe you believe that you're the problem. How about your Aunt Susie, or Rachel, the lady from down the street, or Phil, the guy you work with, who with the Comrade Barry 2012 bumper sticker still on the back of his Prius? Do they think it's your fault? Do they think there's too much freedom going on? That if you'd only be more reasonable and allow more restrictions on your liberty, we'd be safer. We'd be safer. Jared, what do you think over there? Is it raining out still? It feels kind of like that. It kind of feels like that rainy, heavy, kind of gray. But we are in the Glass Case Motion Studios. So,
yeah, we don't have any windows or anything.
Yeah, there's no windows in the studios. But
your voice is putting me to sleep over here.
Is my voice putting you to sleep?
Does it do that to you guys? Does it put you guys to sleep sometimes? He has that voice.
I was actually told, you want to hear a funny story? I'm going to tell you anyway. Oh, about 15, 18, 20 years ago, somebody told me, they said, have you ever studied hypnosis? And I said, no. They said, you should, because your voice is soothing. And, I never did it because I think it's like magic. I think they kind of keep it a trade secret. I don't know. Maybe I should study hypnosis.
You're good at the meditation, though.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's kind of like the same thing.
Thank you very much. All right, well, we're gonna go into something even more horrible, and I'm going to pose a few questions to you. But before we talk about more horror worldwide, we're going to thank some people. You like that? We're going to thank Velocity Triggers at velocitytriggers.com. You got a black rifle, they got a trigger for you. You know you've got a black rifle. Now, all right, maybe you don't. Maybe you're one of those few people out there that doesn't have an AR-15 of some variety. We talked to a guy on Wednesday who was thinking about buying a black rifle. And this is what we told him. This is what I tell people when they tell me I'm thinking about it. What do I tell them, Jared?
Stop thinking and do it.
Stop thinking and do it. It's like, what is there to think about? Are you an American? Do you live in free America? Are you an American patriot? Yes. Then buy a black rifle and be done with it. And then learn how to use it. But if you've got a black rifle and you're like, I want to do competition, or I want to, let's say you want to hunt stuff, you want to make precision shots, whatever it is you want to do. I'm not here to judge. You do whatever you want. Velocity Triggers has a trigger for you, so check those guys out. Crossbreed holsters. You want to carry a gun? Are you carrying a gun? you should be carrying a gun. If you're not, you're wrong like dick cancer, and you need to fix yourself. And Crossbreed Holsters can help you fix yourself because they've got all kinds of different ways to carry a gun. Am I allowed to say that? I wonder if if I'm supposed to put wrong like dick cancer in my pimpage of Crossbreed Holsters. I'm sure someone will send a letter if it's not. But check those guys out at crossbreedholsters.com. Well, we've got something that you're like, okay, we get it. We get that the goat rapists and the Muslim missionaries, that they're going to do what they're going to do. But, they've been doing it for a long time. They've been killing and butchering and blowing each other up and, just doing what they do. That's what they do. And if we would just be more tolerant, if we could find a way to just let them know that we really mean them no harm, they would stop killing us. We got a story here from TheGuardian.com. French terrorism attack, suspect took selfie with severed head. I kid you not. That is the headline from The Guardian. Yassine Salhi remains in police custody. Well, thank the Lord. Dude, can you please read that to me? And
it says he's in police custody after a report that, that image was sent via WhatsApp to a Canadian mobile number.
So now we have the goat rapists, the Muslim missionaries, followers of the religion of peace and brotherhood, cutting off the infidel's head, holding the head up, and using the WhatsApp to send the picture out. What? Is this some kind of... Am I living in a bizarre horror film? Is that what I'm... Or some kind of a spoof horror film like Haunted House 5 or what was all those ones with the Wayans brothers? Scary Movie 5, Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4. Are we in a scary movie spoof here? All right, well, let's go ahead and dive right into this one. The main suspect in the beheading, are they not sure? Is like Inspector Clouseau working on the case?
He took a selfie. How hard is it?
There's a reasonable doubt. We don't want to eliminate the reasonable doubt here. We don't want to taint the jury pool in France. The main suspect in the beheading of a businessman that French authorities are calling a terrorist attack. The Guardian's not calling it that. Did you check out that verbiage? It's like that authorities are calling a terrorist attack. We're not, because we don't judge here at TheGuardian.com. Took a selfie with the victim and sent the image via WhatsApp to a Canadian mobile phone number, officials said on Saturday. French investigators, like I said, Clouseau is on it, were working to determine the recipient's identity, but weren't able to immediately confirm media reports that it was an unspecified person now in Syria. What? Syria? You mean where the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, where those dudes hang out? Shut the front door. I can't believe it. It was supposedly it was sent into Islamic State seized territory. You mean that part of Syria and Iraq that we just gave up because apparently we're limp like a phallus here in the United States and can I say that? I think I just did. And we can't stop these goat rapists from doing what they need to do. The revelation added to an investigation that has not turned up a solid link to radical or foreign groups. But it has revived concerns about terrorism in France. Less than 6 months after the deadly Paris attacks. Folks, all right, you had a bunch of Muslim missionaries walked into an office building of the Charlie Hebdo, whatever, I don't speak the Lingadi, and like gunned people down because of cartoons that offended the goat rapists. And this says it has revived the concerns. So after 6 months, they were, well, yeah, we were concerned for a little while there, but not so much now. How do you have to revive concerns about terrorism? The suspect, Yasin Salih, a truck driver with a history of radical Islamic ties, and his sister and wife remained in police custody in the city of Lyon the day after they allegedly crashed a truck into the U.S.-owned chemical warehouse and hung his employer's severed head on the factory gate. Allegedly. One of the officials said the selfie was forwarded via WhatsApp, blah, 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 blah. Jean-Christophe Delarue, the spokesman for the Canadian Public Safety Minister, confirmed the authorities were involved in the case. Oh, well, they're on it. So, there you go. Here's the deal, folks. This is the insanity of the world that we live in. Investigator this, investigator that. They're looking into it. Alleged. He allegedly crashed his truck through the gate. Allegedly chopped his boss's head off. Allegedly took a selfie holding the severed head. Allegedly put it on the gate. And allegedly tried to blow the place up. All allegedly. Oh, and he's also allegedly a radical Islamist and has alleged ties to ISIS, allegedly. What in the world are we doing here, planet Earth? We're investigating. What do we need to investigate? Oh, I'm sorry. This attack that authorities are calling terrorism. Note that The Guardian is not calling it terrorism. The authorities are. May just be, Jared, do you think this might be just a single isolated incident? And we cannot judge the death cult of Islam based upon this one single isolated incident. Well, okay, there was 3 in one day, and the death toll is climbing. So, okay, I'll give you this. This is what I'm going to give you. 3 isolated incidents in one day. I'll give you that. All right. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you, and these are the questions that I want to ask you. This is not Scary Movie 6. Johnny Jihad comes to town. This is real. This is the world that we live in. Whether or not it offends you, whether or not you'd rather not think about it, this is the reality that we are dealing with right now. Not only on planet Earth, not just living out in the desert or, in Ethiopia or, what's that crappy place full of sand fleas and stuff? Not Sudan. Somalia, yeah. Not just Somalia, not just Iran, not just Syria, not just Iraq. All over planet Earth, we, as the good people, as the people that are really concerned about being viewed as tolerant and open-minded and accepting of all cultures and people and so forth, I don't want people to think that I'm intolerant. I want everyone to know how accepting I am of all people and all cultures. Even the cultures that want to come into my country, destroy the foundational principles of my country, take a big giant deuce on the Constitution and the flag, and want to just randomly, whenever they get a hair up their fanny, to cut off the heads of the citizens who live in that country. Riddle me this, Batman. When you have a Homo sapien that is willing to not just protest for his particular death cult, but is willing to murder, chop off the head of, hold it up like it's, I don't know, like a Conan movie or something, or Scary Movie 6, take a selfie with it, and then send it to Johnny Jihad Part 2, wherever he happens to be on a Canadian phone number, maybe in Syria, we don't know yet. Clouseau's still working on that. How do you negotiate with these people, these monsters? How do you reason with these monsters? Explain to me how we tolerate these monsters. Oh, they're not all monsters, Paul. You need to get down off your high horse and quit trying to lump in all these death cult people with these just few dozen, 100,000 isolated incidents of murder and mayhem and bombing and terrorism and beheading and barbarism. Or they're not all like that. It's like, you know what? Not everybody who lived in Germany in 1939 was a member of the SS, but we bombed the ever-living crap out of that country until they surrendered and fixed themselves. But we can't do that. Are the German people from 1939? What if in 1939, 40, 41, 42, what if we'd have had the world we have today? What if we'd have had the hippie, liberal, peace, love, dope morons that we have today? Go to the floor of the House of Congress and say, Mr. Chairman, I am voting against the resolution for war powers because we cannot simply hold the German people responsible for the acts of a few members of their country. We can't hold, we declared war on Japan. There were people sitting in houses and huts and apartment buildings over in Osaka and Tokyo and Kyoto that they weren't on the carriers that morning. They weren't flying planes. Yet we bombed the ever-living crap out of that country until they surrendered and said, all right, we're going to fix ourselves. So here we are in the Great Enlightened Age. We're 12, 13, 14, I don't know. How many years? 14 years legitimately? Okay, Islam, the death cult of Islam, has been at war with Western civilization for hundreds of years. They really super ramped it up in the 70s, and they haven't let go. But they ramped it up hyperspeed in 2011. Now, the fact that we really weren't paying attention and we didn't consider the fact that they were at war with us doesn't change the fact. But let's just go ahead and start in September 2001 and call that the beginning of the current war on terrorism. That's like calling it the war on cancer. We'll call it the war on terrorism because we're so weak and ineffective that we don't want to call out anybody individually. Imagine that 40, 50, 60 plus years ago. Well, we're not angry at the German people. We're just angry at certain people that live in Germany. And we can't just go to war with that country. It's not their fault. Italy, Germany, Japan. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to, we think we can just find those few bad guys that are actually cutting off heads, not the hundreds of thousands of other people that are in their support network. And let me tell you what, brothers and sisters, listen to my voice. If you're a member of the death cult of Islam, okay, it's your constitutional right to do that. You're not cleaning up your own. I don't have anything for you. You're not cleaning up your own messes. When you don't clean up, when Germany in 1939, when the people of Germany kind of like, there's a lot of bad people, and this Hitler's one of them, but, he has some good ideas, so all right. Okay, Hitler did not come to power in a coup. He tried to come to power in a coup. It failed, and then he worked the other route. The Nazi Party had elected representatives in their Congress, in their parliament, okay? They made him the chancellor. He didn't kill a bunch of people and take power in a military coup. He was elected. So they didn't take care of they didn't police their own business. They didn't take care of their own problems. And we had to go there and take care of it for them. But here in the Great Enlightened Age, we don't want to hold people responsible. Iraq, Iran, Syria, you name it. They're not taking care of business. And quite frankly, most of them are turning a blind eye and just pretending like they're not involved somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'm the intolerant one. Maybe I'm unreasonable. Maybe I expect too much from people. Maybe, a Hajj just going to do what a Hajj going to do. Sometimes a Hajj got to get his jihad on and cut people's heads off and post it on, Instagram. Sometimes you just got to let a Hajj get it on. And if you are the one that gets in their way, well, I guess you just shouldn't have gotten in their way. It's a good thing they have all that gun control in France, because that's keeping them safe. Don't worry, Clouseau is on it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cat in the Hat and that be that. That's all I got for you on a Monday. But we will be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about gun games, sports, and recreation. Oh, and we've got a report hot off of the presses from the slave state of Illinois. You're not going to want to miss it. Thanks for joining us. Bye.